G'day, Raleigh. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about theme parks near Raleigh. And if you got kids like us or you're a big kid like us and you love getting your thrills and spills on roller coasters and water slides and all that sort of stuff, and maybe if you're moving to Raleigh soon from out of state and you usually take your family trip to Florida or Disneyland and stuff, and you're wondering, what's around Raleigh for thrills and spills and adventure amusement parks? Well, we're going to share that today.
We are. We're excited to share it. We love theme parks. We were quite impressed with the theme parks on offer. So close to Raleigh, closer than you realise. And they have made, well, two of them, made our Raleigh summer bucket list. We just recorded a podcast on that, so you can listen to that to learn more about what's on that bucket list. You can also read the post on our blog, and you can download a free summer bucket list checklist as well. All of that will be in the show notes, or you could just head to thisisraleigh.com and click on the summer bucket list, which is on the first page.
Yeah, our kids love theme parks. They could probably live inside a theme park. They love them that much. And we've been to Orlando many times, done Universal, we've done Disneyland. But they can be expensive. They're like a once-in-a-lifetime dream trip for a lot of people. But, the theme parks we're going to chat about today can be like a day trip, a drive, and much cheaper. You don't need to take time off work or a week and you don't have to go all the way to Florida and fight with gazillion people.
And one of the benefits of going to theme parks near where you live as well, and Floridians have this option too, is they have pretty great deals for season passes. So if you've got to do the math and figure out how often you might go during the year. But I think for a lot of them, if you go like even just 2 times a year, you're saving money by getting the season pass. Plus you get all these other perks as well. So really worth thinking about if that's an option for you to go more than once a year, save money, get the season pass.
Yeah, totally. And if we lived in a particular city, we definitely would. But we're going to, tell you about the ones today, which you can get to pretty easily access.
Yeah.
So should we dive in?
Yeah, let's dive in. Let's just talk a couple of things, just a couple of tips, because when my girls say theme parks, I start having anxiety attacks and they know very much that I absolutely detest waiting on lines. I just can't handle it. I think it's just an efficient use of my time. And so I completely stress out about it. So we craft our days and the times we go to theme parks to try and miss doing long lines, because why line up for 3 hours for a roller coaster? For me, it doesn't make sense. There's no ride. I lined up overnight once for tickets to a Lenny Kravitz concert. That makes sense. Lining up 3 hours for a 2-minute roller coaster ride, not quite sure.
Yeah, I've done that a lot too. And particularly if it's hot and if it's summertime, it can be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, like number one tip, get there at opening time. We do it all the time. I don't understand why other people don't. It's not that early. Most of them don't open until 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So even if you have a few hour drive, like it's still not crazy early. But
no.
Yeah, get there at opening. Like like Carowinds recently we went to, get there at 10 a.m. and hit the popular rides early before the flood of people get there around midday.
Yeah, totally. And I think there are, do your research, and our blog post shares this, but some of the rides are slow turnaround rides. So, they might only just a handful of people get to go on the ride at once, or it might be a longer ride. So the turnaround of people is much slower. You want to hit those rides before the lines start. So they're the rides you want to get to early in the morning first thing. So you beat the lines because they can build up pretty quickly. So we were recently at Carowinds, and it wasn't a busy time to go, which is great. We had hardly any lines. But our longest waiting line was the Wild Mouse because it was a slow turnover, and I think we waited for nearly half an hour for that one, where the others were like 5 minutes at the most.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really big tip, really important tip, is hit the slow ones first and then the popular ones. Some of the popular ones are roller coasters, so they can actually turn those over pretty quickly. But even though they are popular, so the lines will build up by the end of the day. You might be waiting. There is alternatively, I think, to like the last hour of the theme park tends to get quieter, so lines then will maybe be shorter too.
Yeah, obviously avoiding the weekends, like everything in travel, if you can have the flexibility to do that. We went to Carowinds on a Friday, even though it was the middle of the school summer break. Wasn't too bad. And the other thing, let's talk about like the parent swap thing that you get at Universal Studios and stuff, which is super helpful. Because if you have we have a 10-year-old who's not too brave to go on all the big upside down roller coasters yet, but you can have the problem like of one parent not riding and having to wait with her while the other parent rides with your other child. So you got to ride twice if each parent wants to go on, which is very time consuming.
Yeah, it does. It takes up a lot of time because for one ride, basically you're lining up twice because the family is pretty much going to stick together. We've done it before where we've tag team, like you went on a roller coaster with Clara, I took Savannah on the Dodgem cars. But they don't do it at the theme parks here, but down in Universal they have parent swap, which is awesome. But you can kind of do this at Carowinds, depending on the age of your child and how comfortable you feel in leaving them on their own. But parent swap or child swap, they call it either thing, at Universal is you all go and line up as a family, and so you go through the line. As you come up to the ride, the riding parent and child will get on the roller coaster. The non-riding child with a parent will go into the parent swap waiting room. And so the riding child and parent will go on the ride. As they get off, that parent will switch with the non-riding parent, and that non-riding parent, and they'll stay in the waiting room with the non-riding child. And so that parent now about to get on the ride gets to go straight away. Doesn't have to go back and line up, and they can take the riding child with them. Kalira loved it because she was going on roller coasters twice in a row.
Double dipping. Yeah, that's a bit of a mouthful.
Great.
Hopefully you could understand all that.
Yeah, that was a lot.
We just incorporated that strategy at Carowinds. Like we all lined up as a family, and as you go on the ride, you step, there's a section on the other side of the track where you can put your valuables and stuff, and our daughter just waited over there a couple of times.
Because that was the offloading area. When we got off the coaster, she was there waiting for us. So parents may feel comfortable doing that because even though technically there's no one supervising them, they are like standing right near where the ride finishes. So there's staff and all of that around.
Yeah.
And we were not going to leave Savannah out in the crowds on her own. I think she's too young for that. So that was a great alternative option to save us having to line up twice for one ride.
Yeah. All right, so 3 theme parks near Raleigh. We're going to talk about Carowinds, we're going to talk about Wet n Wild Water Park in Greensboro, and we're going to talk about Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia. Let's start with Carowinds.
Yeah, because we were speaking about that one.
Yeah. 2.5 hour drive to Charlotte from Raleigh, get to Carowinds. It's actually right on the border of North Carolina and South Carolina, and they call it where the Carolinas meet for fun. So you can actually, some of the rides you're actually in South Carolina because it's a big park.
Yeah.
And sprawls.
And the Fury actually, the roller coaster, the Fury crosses the border.
Yeah.
While you're on it.
Yeah, but Carowinds is cool. There's like 14 roller coasters. You could just roller coasters all day. It's pretty cool. There's a water park, which is great. A lot of cool water slides and stuff. Wave pool, so you can cool down, which we did in the afternoon because we went on a Friday recently in the middle of summer. And they have some entertainment in the evening and stuff. But Carowinds, it was surprising. We didn't know what to expect. We've been living in Raleigh for 10 years, and this was the first time we've ever been.
Yeah.
And we'll be back.
Yeah, we enjoyed it a lot. We had a good time there. It was fun. They had the Grand Carnival seasonal event on when we were there. So they do have seasonal events through the year. They have Carowinds at Halloween, and they have the Winterfest at Christmas time. And so the Grand Carnival was kind of like a Mardi Gras type of theme, and in the evening they have a Mardi Gras type parade. They have people dressed in costumes, and there's lots of dancing and that happening during the day. And they have an international food area. You can buy tickets to sample the food. We didn't do that. We just bought a couple of little plates, and it's from food from around the world. And I was grateful for that because I didn't really like the food on offer at Carowinds.
Yeah.
Very expensive. You're not allowed to take your own food in, so you're left with having to pay those high prices.
Yeah, that can be typical of theme parks worldwide, actually.
Yeah, it is, yep.
I haven't had a good meal yet in any theme park. Australia, US, anywhere.
I can't remember, so mustn't
You don't go there to eat.
Had lots of great butter beer at Universal, though.
Yeah. But yeah, some great roller coasters. We went on every one of them except one.
There was a couple more we didn't because they were closed.
Weren't closed. But the Fury's the big one. It's huge, and you'll see it as you're coming up to the gates. It's like 300 and something feet at the highest point with an 81-degree drop, which looks cool. We were planning to go on it because being North Carolina summers and some thunderstorms rolled through in the afternoon, and we had 2 or 3 closures of rides for like a half an hour period and stuff. So we actually ran out of time.
Yeah. And then in the end, they closed them at sunset and that was done because of the storm. So we didn't even get to do nighttime rides.
Yeah, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But the Intimidator was cool, kind of similar to the Fury. Like it's probably the second biggest one.
Yeah.
And that was all. But our daughters and us loved the Copperhead Strike, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
a cool
great.
ride. Lots of loops, inversions. It was just a fun ride. And the other ride, just quickly bring up our blog post for this because I forget the names of them. The one where you actually hang below the track, which is cool. We've been on it many other times in other parks. It's a similar one. You know,
sorry, when you sit below the track, the Afterburn.
Afterburn was a great ride. Yeah, you hang under the track instead of sitting on top of the track. But there's ones there where you stand up. There's a stand-up roller coaster. There's Carolina Cyclone, which has corkscrews and stuff. There's some cool rides.
The other great one was the Flying Cobra. That was the one that took you slowly up into the air and you hung there and then it shot you off like a rocket and you did a few loops and things and then went up the other side slowly and they hung you there and then shot you off again and you did the whole course backwards.
Yeah, that was a cool ride.
That was fun.
Not great for my head or my stomach, but fun.
We did a lot of screaming on that one, so that was a good one. Yeah. I think you'll love it. But I'm just trying to pull up now because with the roller coasters there we go, the Intimidator and the Fury 325, they make the top 10, the 10 tallest coasters in the world.
There you go. Go Carowinds.
There you go.
Yeah.
Roller coaster lovers.
Yeah.
You got to check that off your list.
Yeah. 2 other things about Carowinds before we move on. Carowinds, you mentioned briefly, is the famous Halloween event, which our daughter has been to in the past. They have hired actors dressed up in and around the theme park, scaring people and stuff. Sounds super cool. You can escape them they can't scare you while you're on a ride, obviously, wouldn't be safe. And if you're inside one of the stores or whatever, you can avoid that. But
you can also wear a sign or something that signals that you don't want to be scared and they will leave you alone.
Yeah, it sounds super fun, super popular. So check that out, coming up Halloween. And stay overnight if you can. I mentioned we went down on a Friday. It's 2.5 hour drive, and the park, it's a big, long day. It is scheduled to close at 10 p.m. and I don't recommend driving home to Raleigh for 2.5 hours from 10 p.m. You're exhausted, you're tired. So they have an on-site hotel, the Spring Hill Suites, where we stayed at. 5-minute walk outside the gates, and we just, super practical. Crashed the night, got up, went and had brunch in Charlotte downtown and drove back to Raleigh.
It was great. They also have a campground there too. So if you want
Wilderness or something it's called?
Yeah. Which is good. And also if you want to skip the lines, Carowinds does have a fast lane pass. When we visited, there was no need for it because the lines were short. On our blog post, you can check out, we have shared the best times to visit Carowinds for like crowds and seasonal stuff that's happening as well. So do your research carefully because you don't want to buy fast lane passes if you don't need them. That's just a waste of money. So the fast lane passes are going to work in the really busy times that you visit Carowinds. Typically that is September, October.
Yeah. Okay, Wet n Wild Water Park in Greensboro. We have a Wet n Wild in Australia that we grew up with.
Yeah.
And if you love big water slides and wave pools and splash areas for the young kids, it's like 75 minutes from Raleigh, so easy to get to. And we had a fun day out there recently with some cool slides, like those big drop ones where you get in the little they close over the hatch thing and the floor drops from under you.
Bombs away.
It took me a while to. I don't like heights and stuff like that. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, Bombs Away was fun. I did it wasn't called Bombs Away, but at Volcano Bay, and it was much higher.
Oh, yeah.
and faster, so a little bit more scary. But this one is great if you've never done them before. It's a good introduction. And on this one, they actually count you down, whereas in Volcano Bay, they don't. So you're just standing there waiting and then the floor suddenly drops, which is part of the thrill.
Yeah.
But Bombs Away is the new ride at Wet n Wild.
Yeah, other cool ride there was, the name escapes me as well. It's like a half pipe, like skateboard thing where you go down.
Oh, the...
You drop down
the edge.
You drop down one side and up the other, and then swing like a pendulum, and then come to a stop at the bottom of the slide. But one person has to go backwards because the way the tube is designed.
And I thought that was going to be the scarier way, but actually, Kalo had to go backwards because I was obviously heavier than her, so I was facing forward. And then when that tube started to go over the lip, I was like, oh, this is really scary because it's such a steep drop, and that's all I was seeing, where Clara didn't get to see any of that. But anyway, ride the ride, do both, because I didn't do it twice because storms closed it down. But let me know if you think forward or backwards.
Yeah. Other cool rides there's like the water slides in the dark that are fully enclosed in a tube. There's the ones where you can race each other, like the race. You're lying on a mat and you race each other. There's like a simulated river tube experience, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you love tubing in natural rivers, that was a fun one for the young kids. And
they had the lazy river.
The lazy river,
I love
of
the
course.
lazy river.
And the wave pool was pretty impressive. It's a big wave pool. And our young kids love hanging out in there, just playing in the waves and having a swim and stuff.
It was nice. It was just a nice, restful place. And the other slide there is there's two of them in the same area, the Daredevil drop. And when you're looking at it, it looks pretty scary because it is a 76-foot, very steep drop down a chute. But when you're on it, it's nowhere near as scary as what it looks. It's just loads of fun. You have this great free fall experience, and then you just shoot down the slide, and then it ends. Yeah. But next to that is the Twin Twisters.
Oh, quick!
Oh my gosh! So I did the Daredevil drop first, and I was like, oh, that's not too bad. I'll go on the Twin Twisters. There's no way they're going to be as worse than the Daredevil, but it was.
Wow, it was fast. I was surprised. It's shot you down like a bullet.
I know. I was on it. Oh my God, this is intense. And it was so funny because our youngest Savannah is very cautious. She doesn't really go on scary rides, and she decided she didn't want to do the Daredevil drop because it looked scary, but the Twin Twisters looked easy.
Yeah.
And she went on it, and she went on it before I did. And then after I rode on it, I got off. I was like, how did you do that, Savannah? That was so scary.
Yeah.
But she reckoned she enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's cool. Another option at Wet n Wild is a good option is have cabanas for sale. For rent. Private cabanas, and have different price points, which can be good because you get your own designated area to relax as a family.
Yep.
They have to put all your stuff in your gear. They have like a little locker you can put your valuables in. You can get serviced, like food and drinks from a waiter or waitress, which is handy instead of having to line up at the food places. Consider renting a private cabana, and definitely if you have a large group, like a large family, or you go with another family and split the cost.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. It's
totally. You get you get shade all day. You get like a table, some like lounge chairs. And like I said, place to lock up your valuables, and just a place to meet all day. If you let your kids run off, and just a designated spot to meet. Yeah,
it was a good deal. And I think there are like different areas where they have the cabana, but if you have family with kids, there's the area that's over by the kids' kind of swim pool.
Yeah.
And it's lovely and shaded.
Yeah, it's tropical.
Get there early because they tend to, I think you can book them online, but they tend to go very quickly. They're popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can get better deals booking everything online, whether it's the theme park, and whether it's your entrance tickets to Wet n Wild or your Cabana Rentals. Do it online. Plus, it saves you time when you get there. And again, get there at opening time.
Yeah, for sure.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
Why not? Make the whole, if you're going to drive from Raleigh, might as well make a whole day of it.
Exactly. And they do have season passes as well at Wet n Wild.
Which can be great value. Again, if you go twice, we did the math, if you go at least twice, you're going to get your money's worth.
Yep.
All right, park number 3, Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia. Obviously, there's a lot of Busch Gardens around the country, and this was This is the only one we've been to, actually, isn't it?
It
and
is.
It was a fun one.
Yeah, the only one we've been to. It's like a European themed one.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed about it, and you kind of get that feel as soon as you walk in. They have different lands, and I think from memory, each of the lands kind of have a different European or international kind of feel to them, and they have different kind of rides in each one. And then they have different shows on throughout the day. I remember the German show that we really enjoyed, the prosting and eating bratwurst and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Now, it's not a day trip from Raleigh. Like Raleigh to Williamsburg, you're looking around 3 hours. So that's a big day trip. I wouldn't recommend that. But,
No.
But we coincided Busch Gardens with Colonial Williamsburg, and if you haven't been there, that's fantastic too, with all the history and
Really
it's like
great.
it's actually a living history museum. How they've maintained the Main Street area in the town. It was fantastic.
You have people in costumes walking around in character, and you can see different shows, like you can watch a trial and all these kinds of things back from when the British ruled. Obviously, you get to learn the story of the Revolutionary War and all of that. So really educational, entertaining, a great experience, good cultural experience.
Yeah, so tie that in with your visit to Busch Gardens. And they had some great roller coasters too, and a good variety of rides by memory. But the big scary one was called the
Griffin. Yeah.
Yeah, we went on. We had a big steep drop.
Yeah,
by
that was
memory,
one of
and
the
a few
scariest
loops. That was
coasters
a
I've
big
done.
ride. And they had a few other big roller coasters too. I can't remember how many.
Yeah.
And all the names.
They did. They had a couple good simulated rides there as well.
But if you know Busch Gardens, like they know what they're doing. They're a good theme park.
Good theme park. The Griffin was really scary because you go up really slowly to get up high, and then once you're about to take the big drop, it just kind of hangs you off the drop for
pauses
4 or 5 seconds or something, and you're just kind of hanging there, kind of upside down, waiting to be released down this. It's like a backward drop, like it curves backwards. I don't know how that works degrees wise. My physics and math inverts backwards. So you drop and kind of go backwards a
90
bit
degrees.
and then shoots down. The rest of the ride is fun, but that was very scary.
Yeah, it was the anticipation. But
Yeah,
Busch Gardens is cool. I liked it. We have to get back up there again. It's been a while. But I'm not. I guess they have season passes too. I didn't check that.
I'm sure they do. They all the parks do.
Yeah, but yeah. So there's 3 great theme parks near Raleigh. Like we said, you don't have to go all the way to Orlando or LA.
No,
Or
you
I mean,
don't.
there's other theme parks. So the one, what's the one big one in Ohio? Cedar something.
Well, that has the big coasters, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Like the
I
biggest
forget the
ones.
name of it. But
Too
so you
far
got
away.
2.5 hours to Carowinds and Charlotte. You got 75 minutes to Wet and Wild in Greensboro, and 3 hours to Busch Gardens in Williamsburg.
And then don't forget that coming up in the fall, middle of October, is our own kind of amusement park, theme park comes to Raleigh, the State Fair.
The NC State Fair, the biggest annual event in North Carolina.
Yep, and we've just putting together a post on it, so I remember, but it has the largest travelling Ferris wheel in the country.
Yeah.
Which you have to pay a separate ticket for. But there you go, you can go and have your amusement park fun at the State Fair. They have rides, roller coasters, granted they're like not crazy roller coasters, they're kind of like roller coasters from the 80s.
Yeah.
They're a little bit of a
That's a
cheap
State
thrill
Fair.
sort of thing. The chairlift, can't remember what they call it.
The Flyer.
The Flyer.
The North Carolina Flyer.
That was good. But then, you've got all these great things going on, entertainment shows, music, lots of exhibitions and competitions. But so that's an option coming up for you as
Yeah,
well.
October. We'll have a blog post published on the NC State Fair with a full-on guide how to get your best out of that by the time this podcast goes to
Live.
air.
We also
That'll
have a
be
video
Look out
of
for
it
that
too.
in the show notes and a video.
Yep.
So, go there, eat your turkey leg, get your grease fix and
Your
all
funnel
your southern
cakes.
fried food and
Deep
go,
fried Oreos.
ride a ride and make yourself sick.
And our same rules for theme parks exist at the NC State Fair too. Get there early. Don't
Get
go on the
there
busiest
early.
days.
No, when we got there early. We got there actually even before the rides opened up, and you'll have easy access and most of the park to yourself. But yeah, There you have it. Lots of fun you can have in and around Raleigh for your thrills and spills.
Always something to do, and that's what we're here for. We're constantly searching for fun things to do in Raleigh and the nearby area and reporting that back to you. We're making all the mistakes so that you avoid making them. So do follow along. You can find all of our tips on everything we mentioned on the podcast on our blog, thisisraleigh.com. Join our newsletter while you're there so you don't miss any important updates. And, of course, social media. We're always sharing on that too. And at This Is Raleigh on Instagram and TikTok. At This Is Raleigh NC on Facebook. We'd love it if you come follow us and share us with your friends. It's the best way you can support us.
Yeah, if you love our podcast, subscribe on we're on all the big podcasting platforms. Share it with a friend, someone who lives in Raleigh or is thinking of moving to Raleigh. We appreciate the support and the love.
We'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.